welcome back to the Glazov gang. Our Glazov gang members this evening. Tommi, Trudeau. Why don't you say something about yourself, because you're never happy with how I introduce you.
Passionate, liberal, person who cares for others.
Okay. And you're not holding on to your snuggle bun.
Because he likes Nonie.
Okay. And can I hold
No.
Mr. Snuggle
He doesn't
Bun?
like you. He hates you.
He told you this?
I hate his guts, too.
Okay. And our next guest, Nonie Darwish, the author of The Devil We Don't Know.
I hope I won't turn liberal now.
Yeah. Is there a chance she might turn liberal with Mr. Snugglebun?
Well, sometimes he wants to be called Comrade Snugglebun. So
And Evan Sayet, one of the funniest men in America, stand-up comedian, and he's the #1 conservative comedian in the United States. Thank you for coming back to the Glazov gang.
It's good to be here, Jamie.
Just to follow up, and then I want to move on, I want to talk a little bit about the Trayvon Martin case, but I wanted to follow up with you for a minute over our last segment, Tommi. You do recognize, and you have conceded, that if you cross the leftist party line, that you could lose your friends. Can you add to that?
I tell you something during the break in confidence, and then you saw how upset I got about this last time. Rightly so, I started to stray from the party line, and I was forsaken, you might say, and rightly so, and I'm not going to let that happen again, Glazov, and I told you that in confidence while you were poking at me, while you were prying at me during the break.
He wasn't
and this is the kind of thing...
that was his pitchfork.
Wait, I wasn't so sure whether that was a big secret or not. Listen, I didn't even say anything. I'm just asking...
He really likes you.
If you don't want to talk about it, okay, 1 second.
She's the only nice person here.
That's so wrong.
She's the only nice...
Tommi.
Oh, but I'm not as bad as Glazov.
Tommi, wait a minute. I'm trying to be serious. I didn't know that was a big secret.
Yeah, go right ahead, Mr. Man.
Okay.
Tell me what you got to say, Mr. Man.
Okay, in other words, that if you, for instance, become critical of certain elements of Islamic theology and say that Western culture is superior to Islamic culture, that could put you in the bad books with the left, and you're afraid to do that. Am I correct?
Would you please stop prying at me?
Okay,
would you please stop prying at me? Because the thing is, with you, you don't have at stake your work, your friends, your life.
Just wait.
I do.
Okay, just wait.
You don't have all those things at stake.
I do.
Because we believe in a certain higher moral ground.
That's ridiculous. That's self-serving nonsense.
You're saying, just wait. You're saying that you would lose. You're saying you're afraid of losing your community.
Well, anybody is. Everybody is.
I know, but we're not afraid among conservatives.
Because you don't have a community.
That's ridiculous too.
You're all a bunch of individuals.
That's self-serving. That's self-serving slander.
Okay.
So that you don't actually have to think through an issue. To just go, we're morally superior, no matter. And meanwhile, the left has ruined the schools, ruined the streets.
Yes, everything gets blamed on the left.
It is. Everything is the left. Everything is the end.
But something about me, like when I make a decision about an idea or a situation, like I really don't think about it in terms of will my community agree with it or not. I make my decision, my opinion, and whether it matches the conservatives or not, it
let's
doesn't
leave
matter.
this, but in terms of what Nonie's saying, when you're thinking about right and wrong, you're also worried about what your community thinks, correct?
Well, Nonie represents the thing that you right-wing males hate, a strong, independent female.
Okay.
She represents that, and you can't stand that,
it's liberals who can't
and so you want to turn around and use that against me, don't you?
That's just left.
So you can't stand a strong, beautiful, independent female.
You mean like Sarah Palin? Oh, I hate her. She's stupid.
I never said that. I respect her.
Say that to one of your leftist friends.
Okay, you're actually changing the subject, but I don't know what that has anything to do with what I was bringing up.
It's just another leftist slander. It's a leftist slander.
And let's move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, for this segment of the Glazov Gang, I would like to end with the ensuing Trayvon Martin saga. Let me say this. A group of 20 African Americans just recently almost beat to death a white victim in retribution for Trayvon Martin's death. In Alabama, a white man named Matthew Owens was beaten to a bloody pulp. He's in the hospital, and afterwards they were saying that now that's justice for Trayvon. Why hasn't Jesse Jackson called this particular individual?
Why do we have this question every time? The answer is always the same.
Just wait. Alice Sharpton hasn't called this individual. They have not apologized either for starting this kind of racial incitement? Just I asked the question.
The answer is exactly the same as why aren't the liberal women upset about the laws of Sharia and that a husband can have sex with his dead wife 6 hours afterwards, or all the other atrocities. The modern liberal will invariably side with the evil, the failed, and the wrong. All right? Whites are supposedly more successful in America than are blacks. So when they look at an issue like this, they say, how can we spin this? How can we edit this 9/11 tape, according to NBC? How can we edit it to make whites appear to be racist? Oh, here's a racist thing, but it's black racism. Let's cover it up and ignore it. It has nothing to do with caring about humanity. Liberals couldn't give a damn about the human beings involved. It's skin color, and it's Western civilization that they hate. It's males because males are supposedly more successful than females, and it's white people because white people are supposedly more successful than other colors.
Now, just wait. I want to add, and then I'll let you go, Tommy and Nonie. John Perazzo, in an article in Front Page Magazine the other day, pointed out an interesting statistic that the attack on Matthew Owens occurred precisely 55 days after the shooting of Trayvon Martin. The statistics, 55 days afterwards, during that time, 1,191 African Americans had been killed in homicides, and 1,119 of them were killed by other African Americans. In other words, 94%. So the problem in America is that young black males are killing young black males, but Jesse Jackson and Sharpton are trying to egg this thing on that somehow the black victims of homicide should be afraid of white people, right?
I think...
Nonie, go ahead.
Yeah. I think this whole thing about race in America is becoming a joke.
It is becoming a joke.
It's really a joke, because I think we've surpassed this a long, long time ago. And the reason that I don't believe that Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton are genuine at all is when people like Simon Denk, the African who spoke with me at Temple University, and he was a slave, an actual slave in Sudan. And here he is in America. And nobody in the black community want to touch him.
Right. Because he's not persecuted by the right people.
Exactly. Because he was persecuted by Muslims.
Or when Gadney
he has to be persecuted by white people in order for that.
And when
you say that,
I think the whole thing is a joke.
When you say we got over this a long time ago, Shelby Steele in a recent column in Wall Street Journal said something very interesting, that with Sharpton and all them, that it's a perverse longing for the racist past. It's a very interesting concept.
May I say something, please? All right, just to add to that, and then very quickly, when Gadney, I forget his first name, was beaten in St. Louis by the SEIU because he was a black man at a Tea Party gathering, they weren't upset. They don't give a damn about black people. You can beat a black conservative. You can Stop. The reason that Trayvon Martin is such a cause célèbre is because they thought Zimmerman was a white Jew. All right? And then when they found out he wasn't white, he was Hispanic, they made up a new definition. He was a white Hispanic.
I think also they want to distract from the failures of Obama with this Trevor.
I just want to also say that we have to be... there's still our compassion for the family of Trayvon Martin and for Trayvon Martin himself.
The problem really is it's not a big issue. I find recently there was a white woman who was pregnant, who just delivered a baby, 3 days old. She goes to the doctor. A black woman kills her, shoots her 7 times, and snatches the baby because she wants her baby. That was a black on white.
And it's not in the media.
And how come whites are not marching in the street?
Thank you, Nonie.
It's time for.
You made a good point.
First off, I wish you two would stop vilifying the left, because we don't vilify you Tea Partiers. And another thing. This is a prime example of all this race on race violence. It is the need for a stronger, bigger government, because you know what? The masses in general are not the sharpest tools in the shed. So when given these,
let him tell us what to do.
You need someone who's more. You need a higher level of people who are smarter, and in some cases, yes, Yes,
We need a
morally
dictator to tell us what to
superior,
do.
not a
And
dictator.
just people
not
who are
a
smarter to
dictator.
tell the people what
yes,
to do.
the government.
Okay, there you go.
The government.
I
Right,
lived in socialism.
You've
I
got
lived-
his argument.
I lived in
Yeah.
Egypt when it was a
So-
socialist country.
So you don't have no faith in
And-
people. You think the government should make decisions.
Yes, because people constantly
Everybody
do
became
stupid
And the
poor.
government isn't made up of
like
people,
this.
by the way.
Everybody
The
became poor.
Barack
You want
Obama's not a person.
everybody to
Barack
be
Obama's
poor?
a god.
If everyone,
Everybody will
Isn't
be poor.
Barack Obama a person?
Let him finish his point. Go ahead.
if everyone is left to do what's right in their own eyes, they end up doing
So we need Barack
insane
Obama to
things
tell
like
us.
this.
Let him finish.
You know
If
what?
everyone's left to do what's right in their own eyes, they end up doing insane things. There needs to be order. There needs to be government. That's why we are not an anarchy.
Okay, and if you
we
need
we
now,
need
and if
government.
and if necessary, if people aren't thinking properly, is putting them in the gulag or even killing them better for the
That's
higher good?
ludicrous.
Why?
That's
What would you
ludicrous.
do?
But I
What
do
would you do
believe.
if they didn't
I
follow
do believe.
government?
I do believe that's ludicrous.
But what would you do
But
if they didn't
I do
follow
believe,
Obama's dictates?
I do believe in a loving, compassionate way that some people need to have an attitude adjustment.
Like in
Yes.
a re-education camp?
Yeah, like a-
You're
like a
putting
work
you're
camp.
putting those propaganda names
But who
on
what would
decides?
you do?
Who decides what the attitude adjustment should be? You.
the intellectuals, the ones who are who,
The ones who've never
who
done
are in the
anything, who've never
government.
worked for a living. who've
Socialism
never-
doesn't work. And I'm sure German Nazis were very intellectual.
Very
You should read the book by
Wonderful
Paul Johnson, Intellectuals, and this experiment's been done. We're out of time, 30 seconds each. What are you up to, Glazov gang members, in the weeks coming ahead?
I don't know. Nothing. Writing, and more writing.
How do you feel about 2012 election?
I think, all right, somebody asked me this just earlier today. If I were to go to Vegas and place a bet, I would put a lot of money on Mitt Romney, and I would put a substantial side bet on a Mitt Romney landslide.
If Obama wins, would you be scared?
I would be I'm terrified.
Terrified, Nonie?
Terrified. I'm looking forward to May 1st, where we're going to have a town hall meeting on terrorism.
Because I was going to go to Jamie's event. I was going to go to Jamie's event, but what do you have going?
Yeah, it's the same as
Oh.
Jamie's event. So.
May the 1st
May
at the Sherman
1st.
Oaks Women's Club?
Yes, and I'm looking forward to it because it's time for America
But they're not
to
going to be.
speak about terrorism.
Thank you.
But there aren't going to be any strong
and
women
Islamic
there, are there?
radicalism.
Yeah.
There aren't going to be
Okay.
strong
God
women there.
forbid. You'd be
Tommy,
afraid,
how do
wouldn't
you
you?
see the 2012 election playing out? What if Romney wins, for instance?
If
Who do you-
Romney wins, I will leave the country.
Are
I
you
will
being
be
serious?
gone from the country.
Okay, just wait. You're being serious.
I promise I will leave the country.
Where
if
are you
Romney
going to go?
wins.
Where are you
Where
going
are
to
you
go?
going to?
Where are you
Egypt.
gonna
He
go?
wants to have sex with dead women.
I will. Oh. See again, vilification,
Okay.
picking on the liberal. Well, it's not nice. She's the only nice one here. She's the only nice one here, and it's the reason why is you, misogynist. You're both misogynists.
I like misogynists.
Right-wing
I am.
misogynists.
I like misogynist.
Sexist, misogynist.
You're not going to
Misogynist.
expose me tonight with the information you discovered?
Mr. Glazov.
I'm going to be working on this. I'm glad you brought that up. See, it's still stewing in your mind. It's still stewing in your mind.
But
This is
but
very satisfying.
Can you give us a clue what you
Well,
are
it has
discovering?
something to do with birth certificate.
Was he not born in this country? Was he not
You may
born in
think
this
it's
country?
funny. You know what? You may think it's funny, but I'm going to reveal, and you're going to be really called out. Really called out, Glazov.
Join us next week for the Glazov Gang.